You know, now that we've come all this way, I can't even think. What is this, the third or fourth or, what is it, fifth episode we've been doing about Star Wars now?
Oh man, yeah, we did one about the original trilogy, ages ago.
We did two on The
Two on the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. We did, we did Clone Wars.
That's
Yeah,
right, we did Clone
yeah,
Wars.
this is number 5.
We're never going to stop talking about Star Wars, are we?
Never.
Well, let's head back to a galaxy, to a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh man.
Editor Ryu, play that intro.
Oh yeah.
It might not be as iconic as the Star Wars theme, but you know what? I think it's great. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the General Geekery podcast. This is the podcast where we love to geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse.
No regrets.
And with all of the enthusiasm in the world.
Indeed.
I am so glad we were able to keep that in sync across Zoom.
Yep. We're zooming.
We're zooming.
Zooming. I wish that I had prepared for this at all, honestly. I was just kind of like, I gotta talk about something. It's something that I've seen recently, so I don't have to binge something for an episode.
Well, to be fair, are we ever really truly prepared?
I am a lot of the time, actually.
True. Fair. Anyway, as always, we are your hosts of General Geekery. I am Donald Kaczynski, your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, and streamer by night. And joining me, as always, she is the Dice Slinger Extraordinaire. She is the Dice Slinger Extraordinaire, Artiste Magnificent, and the purveyor of all things dystopia related. She is Hannah Kubiak.
Hello.
And, well, let's not beat around the bush on this. We're having another Star Wars episode today.
Yup.
Kind of a sequel based on the last Star Wars episode we had, where we had Evan Braun of Dark Pack Cosplay on for talking about the Clone Wars. Definitely go check out that episode if you haven't already. We made a mention to another Star Wars show that immediately follows Clone Wars. Not Bad Batch. We're not talking about Bad Batch yet.
Not yet, anyway.
That's probably gonna come at a later date. But for now, we are talking about the first property that Disney technically released as part of like the Star Wars canon, being Star Wars Rebels.
Yup. I actually enjoyed this show more than I thought I would.
I was about to say, if you said more than Clone Wars, I would have been truly
No.
shocked.
No. But all I heard about this show really was that, oh my gosh, it's just terrible. It's just such a letdown. And I was like, okay, I mean, somewhat, but I'm also not, like, you know me, I'm easygoing. I'm just kind of like, okay, like, not very much gets me riled up, and I'm not really it's hard to disappoint me, I guess. I'm just kind of like, all right. I mean, I saw stuff that I liked. I saw some stuff that made me giggle. I saw some stuff that made me giggle that shouldn't have, and I just was enjoying the ride. I wasn't really judging anything, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely the mindset that one has to be in order to really just enjoy some shows and just keep out the negativity of the mass opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there were redeeming qualities about it that I enjoyed. Well, let's crack into it, shall we?
All right, let's blow this. No, not blow this popsicle can. We only just started, Donald.
Oh, yeah.
So, the show originally debuted as a 1-hour television film back in 2014, which was shown on Disney Channel. This was all broadcast on Disney Channel properties from around 2014 to 2018, and the same people that worked on the a lot of the people that worked on the Clone Wars series, most notably Dave Filoni, who was the supervising director for the first 2 seasons of the show, as well as season 4, worked on this project. Now, for those of you that are not aware or are not aware of like the behind the scenes of Star Wars stuff, Dave Filoni is basically responsible for like a lot of like the new Star Wars projects outside of the films that have been released today. He played a big hand in the evolution of the Clone Wars, Rebels, the Mandalorian. He's also one of the one of the head people responsible for creating Avatar: The Last Airbender as well.
Yeah, he's just
Dave
got a lot going on.
Filoni has a lot of good things to his name.
Yeah.
So, when Clone Wars was originally canceled, before the final season was produced, which resulted in the lost episodes being released as like its own separate season on Netflix, the future of spin-off media for Star Wars was kind of thrown into question when Lucasfilm was bought by Disney. But then the announcement of new Disney projects featuring Star Wars stuff was announced to happen. Rebels was the first one to really start that. And mind you, Rebels was released before the new trilogy of Star Wars films was released.
Yeah.
So there was... I wouldn't say expectations out of Rebels, per se. But as a continuation of where Clone Wars inevitably left off before the final season was eventually done and released in 2020, it was fun. It was a fun ride.
Wait, sorry, I zoned out just there.
It was a fun ride, I said.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the thing that I actually watched the first season of this like ages ago. Like long before I watched a lot of other stuff. I saw this. I think it was probably the first. Yeah, it was the first animated Star Wars thing that I had seen.
Yeah, because didn't you say that you were watching this right around the time like we started this podcast?
I think so. Yeah, I watched the first season with my mom, because she just randomly got it from the library, and like she's kind of a Star Wars nerd too. So so I watched the first season with her, and then I think I watched like the beginning of the third season with her too for some reason. Like I'm not quite sure.
Oh man, that must have been weird.
It was so weird. And where is it? Yeah. I have to say that I'm just a sucker for a good master apprentice story, or master and Padawan, I guess. And I really I love the sort of I love the journey that and the like character development that like Kanan and Ezra go through together, because it's kind of like like he never finished his training, but he's just doing his best to like train up this kid as well, like, and he did a pretty good job. Like the kid like grew up in a war zone, and he's like he was pretty doing pretty well, you know, like considering everything that happened to him, like being a a street rat on Lothal, and then like like kind of drifting away a little bit, almost kind of put like dipping into the dark side a little bit when he was kind of left on his own for a while, because like Kanan was
Mm-hmm.
like crippled, you know, so it's just like, well, I'm going off on my own, and just like just trying to be more powerful and like complete the mission and everything. And if you have to like kind of like just the fact that sort of like Kanan didn't really think that he was a very good master. Like he was like at the beginning in the first season, he was trying to find somebody else to teach Ezra because he was just thinking, I don't have what it takes because I never finished my training myself. And I think that whole arc that happened where they found the Sith holocron, and then when Ezra was on his own, and he was using it to gain other powers and stuff, just sort of he really did need guidance, and like Kanan underestimated himself in that sort of thing. Like that was one of my favorite episodes, was like the beginning of season 3,
Mm-hmm.
where they're trying to figure that stuff out. And I don't know, maybe we should go back and talk about what exactly I'm talking about,
Yeah,
because I just sort of I'm kind of going on a super sidebar.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what happened.
So basically, the entire series revolves around the crew of the
Yeah, just take this part and paste it into the beginning. Oh gosh, here I am just assuming people know what's going on.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So most of our main cast is part of a crew of the ship known as the Ghost, headed by Kanan Jarrus, who was a former Jedi Padawan during the time of the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
and has basically he's basically like a bounty hunter, covert ops and things like that, in order to
Mm-hmm.
basically gun for hire. That's basically what he's been brought to. And this boy, as Ezra, ends up joining the Ghost crew to. He's initially trying to find like his parents, because
Mm-hmm.
he's basically a street urchin at the start of all this.
Yeah.
And through difficulty, he joins.
Rat.
Of course, he would quote Aladdin. If it wasn't you, it would have been me. But he joins the Ghost crew and eventually convinces Kanan to train him in the ways of the Jedi. But like you said, Kanan, he was only a Padawan, like when Order 66 happened. So he doesn't know how to really. He doesn't know the ways about actually training someone, because we actually see Kanan during parts of Clone Wars, and I believe he's also in Bad Batch as well. I have to sit down and watch Bad Batch. So
Wait a second. When was he in Clone Wars? I'm trying to remember now, because
apparently he was in like one of the final like seasons.
What?
Yeah, I had to go back and rewatch that too, and I'm like, oh my god, he wasn't he?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm freaking out.
Hannah's having having out of body experience.
I'm trying to remember where he was. Gosh. Oh gosh. See, I think I remember him, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's just me projecting from like having seen him in Bad Batch, because that was the first time I recognized him. Because when I watched Clone Wars, I didn't know who he was.
Right.
Because
Right.
he had a different name when he was a Padawan. So, oh wow.
So
Okay.
so the main so basically the main so basically the main story just revolves around the crew of the Ghost as they are eventually involved in the rebellion against the Empire, and we get joined by a lot of different characters from Clone Wars, such as Captain Rex, a fully grown Ahsoka Tano,
Mm-hmm.
and then we eventually comes across other people that are part of the Star Wars universe, such as Darth
Mm-hmm.
Vader, once again played by James Earl Jones.
Oh yes.
Uh, and then figures such as Darth Maul and new threats that have not been introduced in like Star Wars canon on any kind of like on-screen appearance, such as the Inquisitorial Squad and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, Rebels has a much different kind of dynamic compared to Clone Wars, where Clone Wars was presented as almost like a newsreel kind of like experience. Rebels at times is like a little bit more personable. I feel like in terms of like how it's directed, how it's shot, and and it's very different feeling. Like how best to explain this? Like Clone Wars,
More an ensemble.
pretty much, yeah. And we all knew like some stuff that was going to happen in Clone Wars because what happened in between episode 2 and 3 hadn't really been explored, but what happened in episode 3 was basically set in stone. Like it was destined to happen, and we're just filling out stuff that happened in between.
Right.
Rebels is kind of the same way, but it was an entire almost 2 decades in between the fall of the establishment of the Galactic Empire and
Order 66.
between Order 66 and the Battle of Yavin, which was where the Death Star blew up in episode 4.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that happen.
Oh yeah.
And this explains some of the details that happened during the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get a little glimpse of what the rebellion was like with the like episodes 4 through 6 and everything, but this like this was more like a day-to-day sort of this is what life's like when you're part of the rebellion kind of thing. It's like this kind of like this almost a sort of Mission Impossible vibe where you've got this group of people, ragtag group that like gathers together and to like complete a mission, you know, and they're doing all sorts of things like, you know, like sabotaging imperial shipments and like rescuing rebel prisoners from lockups and like getting like plans about new imperial weapons from inside of imperial starships and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like espionage stuff, which I must say, as far as espionage goes, like Ezra was quite the find. Like if that boy has an opportunity to climb into a vent, he will do it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's just like I was like, wait a minute. They're like, how are we gonna get there? And I was like, go through the vents. I'm like, we could go through the vents. Send the kid through the vents. I'm like, oh yeah. Wherever he goes, he finds a vent to dwell in. Like, I love it.
Every single time.
Typical rogue. Hello?
Yep, still here. Just rereading something.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Again, many events in, I wouldn't say a lot of events in Rebels impact, like, a lot of the other projects, such as, Clone Wars or, Mandalorian, as much.
Yeah.
It's more of like an anthology kind of thing, like more of like kind of more. It's less Clone Wars, where it's following a lot more of like the established characters in the Star Wars wars, such as Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, all of them. And it's more like Mandalorian, where we're following this entirely new cast and some people that have already been introduced in other spin-offs titles, just in like the same universe. Because one of them was, if I'm not mistaken, was actually not only in Clone Wars, but I also believe in Mandalorian as well, which is Sabine.
Oh. Okay.
Because I'm trying to...
Sabine? No. Wait. I do know that,
No, it wasn't
Bo-Katan
Sabine. It
is
was
in-
it was Bo-Katan. What is wrong with me?
I don't know, man.
Well,
But yeah, Bo-Katan was in,
Yeah, because-
Rebels.
Yeah, Bo-Katan is in Rebels because like
Once again, the Darksaber eludes her, mostly.
every single time.
Every damn time.
Yeah, the entire Mandalore arc that was introduced in Clone Wars continues on into Rebels, which would also just carry on into Mandalorian. It's like that Darksaber has its own little like story arc that we just cannot get away from.
Yeah. Oh. The
And,
Darksaber. Okay, I still do not understand how the Darksaber got from, because how the Darksaber got where it ended up in the Mandalorian. With
I don't think we've been
Moff
I don't think we've been shown that yet.
No? Okay.
I need to go back. I need to go back because that's the thing that's like a gap in my memory right now. Is like how
Yeah.
the Darksaber got into the hands of Moff Gideon in Mandalorian, because it was in I forget who had the Darksaber at the end of Rebels.
I think Sabine gave it to Bo-Katan, actually.
I think so too.
Which I kind of was skeptical about, because I was sort of thinking to myself that, don't you have to have defeated the person who wields the saber to actually be able to possess it. So
by the decree of the House of Mandalore that the Darksaber comes from, yes, it's like old school like lore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a symbol that shows like the leadership of like the Mandalorian way, which Bo-Katan is obviously trying to lead the Mandalorians again.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know. We didn't really see what happened between there, like what led sort of the Mandalorian race to be the way that it is now, in the Mandalorian. Like
we have a bunch of other spin-off series coming from Disney about Star Wars, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe now that Dave Filoni, if I'm not mistaken, since Dave Filoni is going to be heading up like the Star Wars department, maybe we can actually get some clarification.
Yeah.
Like, Filoni, for the most part, has done an astounding job of, like, connecting everything, and I have I wouldn't say high hopes, but I have trust in him.
Yeah.
You can do it, Filoni. I believe in you.
You can do it. Trying to think. Okay, now that we have the background, wait. Let's talk about the crew first.
Yeah.
We've been waffling long enough. Let's talk about the crew
So
I go off on my my tangent.
On your tangent again.
I will wait for my tangent about the Sith holocron and the Kanan, Ezra, Maul, apprentice triangle.
Yep. Okay. so we've gotten through Kanan. We've gotten through Ezra.
Yep.
We mentioned Sabine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's a Mandalorian from a. She was like disowned by her family, because she created a super weapon for the Empire or something.
Something
That's yeah. That's what I recall, was that she made a super weapon.
We have Hera, who was
Hera.
Spectre 2. She's a Twi'lek from the planet Ryloth.
Mm-hmm.
She was she was the daughter of Syndulla, who was in the Ryloth arc of Clone Wars.
Right. Okay. Was he? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the hell? I have to watch all of this again now. I've missed so much. Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's weird how interconnected like they can be with like some of it sometimes.
Yeah.
Unless you're really like sitting there and like keeping notes, it's just like, wait, what? This was connected to what now?
And I have been known to keep notes, and I didn't even notice.
It's okay. Then we've got Zeb.
Voiced by Steve Blum.
God bless be to Steve Bloom.
Oh my gosh, I love bell peppers and beef.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
No, never.
Oh man.
Bell peppers and beef.
And then we have the group's astromech, Chopper.
Yeah.
Who
He has like the highest body count out of like any, like out of all of them.
And
like,
oddly,
he has killed them like thousands via sabotage. Like,
who oddly enough is voiced by Dave Filoni himself.
oh wow, okay.
Didn't even realize that until I like was rereading it. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that Filoni actually voiced.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, excuse me. Oh man, that was, yeah. So yeah, that's basically our ragtag crew of the Ghost.
Yep.
Who we spend the most time with, and they're basically. You know what? Speaking of like Cowboy Bebop, it kind of reminds me of like that Cowboy Bebop dynamic.
It really does. Yeah.
You're
just living on this ship, and it's not much, but it's home. And you just kind of travel around, go where you're needed, let the wind carry you. Yeah.
It's just this bunch of misfits just like like coming together for this like single purpose. They didn't realize it, and then it gets thrust upon them. It was like, well, in for the long haul. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I have to ask, what were some of your favorite moments that took place during this series?
Yes.
You can go off on your tangent now.
Woohoo! Okay, so my tangent is probably my favorite part of the series was the end of season 2 into the beginning of season 3. Yes, such just
the entire
there's just so much internal conflict, and just like you kind of you're like you okay, here we go.
All right,
let's talk about what happened in these episodes.
So the end of season 2 it was huge when it first came out. Like I remember, like I heard Rebels just like off of like just here and there, but then when the finale to season 2 happened, like my entire social media and everything was just bombarded with what happened at the end of season 2.
Yeah, it was insane. And so they go to...
So the ending to season 2 was a two-parter known as Twilight of the Apprentice.
Yep. And what happened in Twilight of the Apprentice is that I'm trying to find a little. I'm going to mess it up, so I'm trying to find a little like summary or something.
I have it right here up on.
Okay, you do it. I'm not very coherent in these matters.
So the crow Ezra, Kanan, and Chopper are joined by Ahsoka to retrieve a Sith holocron on an ancient Sith world of Malachor.
Yep.
And they are helped to get to hold on one second.
Okay.
So basically, they're trying to find the holocron, and they encounter Maul, who it returns. He gets the Sith holocron. Basically, throughout the course of this two-parter, Maul turns on the group, blinding Kanan with his lightsaber, and he wants to make Ezra his apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
And then, inevitably, oh boy.
Oh boy.
In comes Vader.
In comes Vader. Yeah, because he shows up because he wants the holocron.
Because he wants the holocron, and then it is the reunion of the Master and the Apprentice as Ahsoka meets Darth Vader for the first time. And oh my God, earlier on in the season, when Ahsoka feels that Vader was Anakin Skywalker, and Vader goes, so the apprentice lives, and it's just like, oh no, Ahsoka, no. And this entire meeting had been built up to for a while in this season.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and then sort of, I loved that little moment that they had where part of his mask got shattered and she could like see his face.
Yeah, you could
hear his actual voice, and
it was Matt Lanter's voice.
Matt Lanter did that, yeah, and that was heartbreaking.
She said, "I won't leave you, not this time." And after a long pause, he just goes, "Then you will die," and it's just like, ah.
Yep, yeah.
And we don't find out what happens to Ahsoka for the longest time.
Yeah, I know. It takes ages to get to that point. Yeah, and so yeah, they're going to the old they're going to the Sith temple to get the Sith holocron, which will it'll give them information about how to defeat the Sith, basically, right?
They're hoping it will.
Yeah, okay. And so they're trying to get this thing, but Maul wants it for different reasons, and he just happens to be there, and he gets Ezra onto his side. Just sort of, you know how manipulative people are.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, look, I need your help and you need my help, and so he kind of, he very, very quickly, it's really easy for him somehow, like, to get Ezra a little bit, like stepping into the dark side a little bit.
Well, Ezra was still just like starting out, and for a Padawan, it is a lot easier to sway a Padawan,
right,
than it is generally for one who is more attuned with the Force and has had more time to really integrate themselves into the light side of the Force.
Yeah, and so they're heading up there to the temple, and Maul turns on them, and he blinds Kanan with his lightsaber, which, holy shit. Yeah, because I had like seen the beginning of season 3 with my mom before I watched this, I was like, I knew he was going to end up blind somehow, but I didn't know what
You
it
did
was.
not expect. You
and
did
it
not
still
expect
shocked
it was,
me.
You
I knew
didn't
it was going to
expect
happen.
it was going to go that far.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and just like the way that they animated it as well, where it's kind of like just like you see it kind of from Kanan's perspective, where everything
Yep.
just goes like close your eyes in bright sunlight red, kind of. I was just like, that was it. And then he gets up and he keeps on fighting without being able to see a thing. It's just like
The power of force sense is an amazing thing.
And I remember when I was in the middle of watching this, I started a channel on the Discord specifically to speculate about like how the force can help you out if you're blind, and like, is it through sort of like you can hear things really well, or is it you can sense like tremors in the ground, or what is it? And I would love to talk about that some more, because it's just fascinating to me.
So from there, like, Maul plays basically plagues Ezra's thoughts like all throughout season 3. Like,
yeah, like he like keeps on having like visions of him and just all sorts of like spooky stuff.
Which results in possibly my favorite episode, well, at least my favorite moment of all of Rebels, which is season 3, episode 20, Twin Suns.
Right. Yes.
So, Maul basically influences Ezra's thoughts to try to find Obi-Wan on Tatooine. Because Maul wants to finish the connection between him and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, just finish this, like, decades-old feud.
Because him and Ezra, when they like combined the Sith holocron and the Jedi holocron, he saw a vision of twin suns. And yeah, so that was his clue about where to find Kenobi.
Yeah.
the guy who cut him in half and still managed to not kill him, you know. Well, I cut him in half last time we met, and he survived somehow.
So, I want to talk about the actor who played Kenobi in Rebels, because for those not aware, Alec Guinness, who was the original actor for Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original trilogy, very unique sounding voice. And the actor who they got to play, to voice Obi-Wan Kenobi, Stephen Stanton, was also the same guy who voiced Tarkin in Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
So, obviously, someone who was used to playing well-known characters and being able to make them, like, it sounded almost exactly like Alec Guinness. It was, oh my...
Did.
And that's what made this so good. Like, I haven't really, like... Okay, so in episodes in the past, I've showed Hannah the entire lightsaber duel between Maul and Obi-Wan before in Rebels, without any kind of context, and I told you that it was my favorite lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars.
It was like a samurai battle. Like, you defeat somebody in like 3 moves.
It was a callback to not only what they said earlier on when they met, Maul saying, "Look at what you have become, a rat in the desert," and Obi-Wan responding with, "Look at what I have risen above." Not only is it a callback to that, but the entire fight is a callback to previous fights. Even their first encounter against each other when And even reference back when Maul killed Qui-Gon Jinn in Episode 1.
Yeah.
Like, there are entire videos and stuff, like, analyzing this one duel. With, and for diehard Star Wars fans, I've seen them, like, go ooh and ah at, like, certain moments in this fight. It's just, oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to gush about this because I've kept this in long enough.
Go ahead.
So, it eventually, they exchange words with one another, where Maul is basically enraged to the escalation, where he's like, I need you to fight me. And basically, he deduces that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine in order to protect someone. And when those words are said is when Obi-Wan draws his lightsaber to duel. He assumes his old battle stance of how he usually fought in Clone Wars. In Clone Wars, Maul assumes his double-bladed stance of how he usually fights, and as they're jockeying for position to try to wait for the other to make the first move, Obi-Wan changes his stance into the stance of his former master, Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, for those of you that are not attuned to certain things that happen in Star Wars, there are different forms of lightsaber combat. There, if I remember right, there's about 6 or 7 different forms. Each of them are attuned to different forms of combat, whether fighting multiple enemies, one-on-one duels, things of that nature. And Obi-Wan was a master of a different form of combat, because the styles between him and his master Qui-Gon were 2 very different forms of lightsaber combat. Whereas Qui-Gon's form was more suited for reactive defensively in one-on-one duels.
Right, yeah.
And if you actually go to the fight between Qui-Gon and Maul from Episode 1, it's almost the exact same 3 moves that you see in Rebels. Where saber attack, Maul using the middle of his saber to hit Qui-Gon in the face in order to catch him off guard, and then turn around stabbing him in the torso with his lightsaber. Which is how Qui-Gon died. He tried to do the same thing to Kenobi in this one. But what Kenobi said, look at what I have risen above. He knows how Maul fights. These two have had so many encounters with each other, not only from Episode 1, but throughout all of, like, the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
That when Maul tries to go for the same method of moves that felled his master, when he goes to try to butt Kenobi in the face with the middle, Kenobi slashes down, cutting Maul's saber in half, and finally ending him.
Yeah.
3 moves, and it's done.
That's ridiculous.
And it's like I said before, and I've said it numerous times whenever I bring up this fight, I am someone who will always appreciate the power of less is more.
Oh, yeah. You know, I kind of felt the same way about the another fight with Maul, actually. The one with Maul and Kanan right after he'd been blinded. That one was surprisingly short, too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just a couple of moves, and I was like, huh. You know, like, I don't know. I'd want to go back and look at that and see what was going on there. How? Because he hadn't even, like, been in the desert yet and talking to the Bendu and voiced by Tom Baker, which I think is excellent. But
praise be to Tom. Yes,
and like dealing with learning how to sort of still your mind and all of that in the desert. He hadn't done any of that yet, so I was kind of wondering like how did he do that? Like with just newly deprived of his sense of sight, you know, and being able to adjust. Like, was it just, I don't know. I feel like it's like an inspiration or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I brought it up and I didn't really have anything to say about it. So just that it was similar. And I now want to look and see exactly, because he just like he dodged and knocked him off the ledge or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember, but yeah, it was impressive, and it reminded me of the clip that you showed me from Twin Suns,
which was the lightsaber duel.
Yeah. So yeah, there were a couple of just, you know, short and sweet, sort of, here we go. Not a long, drawn-out fight at all. It's just like, well, I know what I have to do. Here we go. You know.
And don't get me wrong, long, drawn-out fights in Star Wars, especially with lightsaber duels, I'm all about them too. But
yeah,
every once
I'm all for it. But yes, every once in a while, yeah.
You gotta have that moment of like short and sweet and to the point, especially when it's a fight between Kenobi and Maul that has had that much years of familiarity.
Yeah.
To have it end like that.
You've been thinking about that one for decades.
And also, I have to say, the way that Maul died, and I was so much more satisfied with the way Maul died in this one than in the other Star Wars media that was released before the prequels. Well, actually, it was after the prequels, but it was before. It was even before Clone Wars. Like in one of the comics, that was like to bridge the gap between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Apparently, Maul was actually about to kill Obi-Wan, but it was actually Uncle Owen that shot Maul like in the back, killing him.
Oh wow!
I remember discovering that, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I saw this, and I'm like,
yeah,
this. I will take this.
Because he wanted the downfall of the Sith as well, right? Because Darth Sidious, like in Clone Wars, Darth Sidious like killed his brother and then like took a new apprentice and it just left him. Right?
Yep.
Like, I think he was more of a, he didn't really have any loyalties really. He was just bent on revenging himself against just everybody who had like taken something from him.
Yep. We got really deep there for a second.
What?
We got really deep there for a second.
Was that deep?
It felt like it a little bit.
Oh, well, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Alright, so yeah, Rebels is an interesting case. Like, whenever you bring it up to somebody will say it was good, it wasn't good, they either liked it or hated it. I don't think I would say it's something mind-blowing like
No.
how Clone Wars was.
No. I appreciated it, I would say.
I think that's the correct way to say it, because Clone Wars was the series. The Clone Wars was the series that really changed everything. That expanded the possibility of like we can do all these different like Star Wars spin-offs. That there is people that
was the beginning.
Want to see more of this universe.
Yeah.
Rebels was the next chapter in that progression.
Yeah.
And while I do agree that I think Clone Wars is the stronger narrative and the stronger show, there are a lot of moments from Rebels that I think we can all appreciate.
Oh yeah, well for sure.
So I honestly believe that Rebels is a definite watch
Yeah,
for me.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, especially now that it's more accessible to actually watch it now, thanks to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
For the longest time, it was almost impossible just to try to watch it on streaming sites anywhere unless you got your hands on the DVD or Blu-ray collections.
Right, yeah. uh, I I mean, I must say I wasn't I mean, I enjoyed the like mysticism of the Loth Wolves and everything, but I was so confused. I was so confused. They're like running and then they just disappear into the grass and end up on the other side of the world. Like are they like the like what are they called? The Purple? Can they like travel in hyperspace but through planets? Like is that what happens?
They are the space meerkats.
They are the space meerkats. Yeah, and just it was so weird. And the whole like going into the Jedi temple and being able to see like portals back in time and stuff. I felt like there was a lot in season 4 that it was introduced and it wasn't really fully explored because they were trying to finish the season.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. Season 4...
Yeah, like the last couple of episodes, it was like, whoa. Like, just, oh, just so much happened and so much was left to question, I guess. Oh goodness. It was rough. It was a roller coaster watching season 4 because you're kind of like, just taking a steep nosedive here. Whoa, okay, like that was cool. And now it's over. That was my reaction to it basically. But yeah, no real complaints here. Except you know how I feel about the unnecessary haircut at the end of I had like a whole rant on the Discord just about what Kanan's capabilities would be using the Force while he was blind, and I also just basically decided that
you were trying to figure out is like, Kanan's blind. Even with
Yes.
Force Sense, how can he shoot lasers in a ship in space and actually hit them?
Because there's no sound in space, and you don't feel vibrations of anything approaching when things are flying at you in space. But I figured that maybe it was more like a... I feel like the Force would kind of... Because then our good friend Andrew Kelly on the Discord just casually blew my mind by reminding me that in the very first Star Wars movie, Luke turns off his targeting computer and still manages to shoot a laser beam into the exhaust port and blow up the Death Star. So the Force can help you shoot things in space. Andrew Kelly revealed to me.
I mean, that is true, technically.
So I don't take issue with that anymore. I think that I'm all for it, for the Force allowing you to shoot things in space. I think maybe it's more of a not so much a heightening of your physical senses so much as a heightening of your spiritual senses.
Yeah, definitely.
But apparently, no matter how strong you are with the Force cannot help you give yourself a good haircut. It just can't. You're gonna miss spots. you're gonna leave a strange little sort of mullet thing in the back. You're gonna your girlfriend's gonna hate it. You're gonna like.
It's okay, Freddie Prinze Jr. You tried your best.
It was hilarious. I loved it, but I hated it at the same time. I was like, oh, it was so funny. Like when he comes and gets Hera from prison, and she's like, I hate your hair, and he's like, yeah, I had to do it without a mirror, and they're like, ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. I talked to my mom about that. I was like, okay, I just could not get past that unnecessary haircut. And she was like, honestly, I didn't mind it as much as she was like, I was more bothered by that ponytail he had for 3 seasons. And I'm like, what? Mother. And she was like, yeah, I like the shaggy haircut. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, mother. But it was definitely a mood. I believe I sent a like screenshot or something of the results of that little grooming experiment, and like subtitled it. Everybody trying to look normal during quarantine. Because I certainly cut my own hair during quarantine.
Oh yeah.
But yes, just just great. I just even when I hate things, I love to hate them.
If you weren't so passionate about the things that you hate, then can you really say that you truly hate them?
No. Well, wait. Yeah. I could be indifferent. I could be completely indifferent, and that would be boring for podcasting. You have to have strong opinions to podcast, which is the most difficult part for me. Yes. Overall, would recommend.
Awesome.
Yes.
Even
a noble sacrifice, an unnecessary haircut.
Unnecessary.
That's my summary of that episode.
Fair enough. I think we can end off on that.
I think so.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to this episode of the General Geekery podcast, all about Star Wars Rebels. This one will be one of the last episodes for a while. There's going to be a little bit of a hiatus for the month of July. Make sure to follow us on social media for what's going on and what we're doing, and when we're going to be back to posting regular episodes. So keep your eyes and ears open. We are on Instagram at General Geekery and on Facebook and Twitter at Gen Geek Podcast. You guys can listen to all of our episodes of the podcast wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, and you can check all of our episodes out on YouTube as well in audio format at youtube.com/Anime Rev Productions. That is youtube.com/Anime Rev Productions. Also, if you guys want to chat with me or Hannah and all the other wonderful listeners of our community, like Hannah said, we have a Discord. The link to the Discord will be in the description of this episode. Come on by and join the General Geekery Guild. Chat with us about all things geekness. Talk about some of the latest episodes, past episodes that you guys found interesting, or just want our thoughts and opinions on anything that's on your mind. Come on by.
Oh my gosh.
And if you want to donate your hard-earned coin to help support the show and everything that we do, please consider pledging to our Patreon at patreon.com/General Geekery. Hannah, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me rolling dice with my party on twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures. It is a ongoing Dungeons and Dragons campaign where I play Petra, the Dragonborn Ranger Rogue. the best kind of zombie is a dead zombie. And you can also find me on my other podcast that I do with my mom called the SPLANCHNIC podcast. And if you want to, you can follow me on Instagram at Pythian Legume. It's mostly pictures of my cats and my artwork, and I think one of my quarantine haircuts is on there. So
Hail to the almighty Kafka and sushi.
yeah, and I did it with a ceremonial knife and no mirror. So
Well done. Well done.
Yep.
Well done,
I
young
know.
Padawan.
I'm awesome.
Well done, young Padawan. And if you guys want to check out whatever I'm doing, I am on social media on Twitter and Instagram at RyuzakiMK7. That is also my handle on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/RyuzakiMK7. I play a majority of different games. A lot of them are RPG based, but I always love interacting with my chat room, having fun, and just doing some on-the-spot voice acting. It's always a lot of fun. I'm going to be on a little bit of a hiatus from that just because I'm in the middle of moving into a new place. So
Yep. July is crazy.
July's a crazy month for all of us.
Yeah, you're moving. My sister's getting married. Just tons of stuff going on in July. So we're taking a well-earned break.
Indeed. So yeah, if you guys want to follow us and all of our stuff, follow all of our social media. It'll all be in the description of this episode as well, so no worries on that. So with all that said, I think we can wrap up this episode of the General Geekery podcast. Thank you guys so much. This has been episode 86 of General Geekery, all about Star Wars Rebels. Hannah, I have nothing to do clink clink, so I'm gonna have to ask you to prepare for that. Sorry.
I can clank clank.
Thank you. For Hannah Kubiak, I'm Donald Kaczynski, and until next time, guys, may the Force be with you, and always remember to keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink,
Clank,
clink. Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody!
Goodbye.
You can't see, but I'm actually waving my hand right now. Goodbye!
Yeah, why do you wave in a podcast? I do that all the time, too, so.
Bye!
Bye.